The first order of business, because this is all of our commissioners are together here tonight, it's a public meeting, so we need to call, I need to call this meeting to order. And City Clerk, would you please call roll? Present. Okay, with the way we're going to follow the same format as we did last week, and so I'm going to ask Neil Ward to come up and kick it off for us.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank all y'all for coming out. Again, I want to thank everybody that participated last week. I named a few people, and I forgot to name some people. In particular, the City Police Department. Thank y'all very much, because the president has definitely been, I have noticed the difference and all, but I have had a great 7 days. And I'll just give you some of the details that have come about. I had the privilege of meeting with Rick Murphy, who is the city engineer, and water stands on the south side. It's almost flat. Island Creek down here is the low spot. It needs to be cleaned out. This needs to be cleaned out. And over here needs to be cleaned out. Over here on the other side of the flood wall, I mean the railroad tracks, which Rick is working on all that. So I'm hoping a lot of the water problems, some of it, majority of it will be taken care of in the very near future. I will have to say that I walked across a couple of places down there, and there was several tires, there was hundreds of water bottles. And I asked him where all that came from, and he said it came from Walmart all the way this way. So our trash. So we have to do our part of that too. Greg Cherry is the inspector for the city. And we went around and looked, and we all know it's this motel here right beside us, the one on the corner Beltline and Urban Cobb. He is very active in that, and I did not know this. I want to plug him again. And Commissioner and Mayor, thank you very much. He participates in 28 to 30 write-ups and legal things a month in the north side and the south side. I had a place next door to me that had a roof that had a hole in it for 10 years, we finally got it tore down. The legal process takes a long time. So they are in the process of doing things like that. Also want to thank Bill Barterman. He is representing the county here. I think he's speak here in a minute, but we can hopefully work together. And I'm not going to drop this issue. If any of you own Bob's, you can stop by, see me, ask me a question. I'll be more than happy to. And thank Ms. Wilson was really instrumental of helping me out. I called her, and within 3 hours, the mayor called me back. So thank you, Ms. Wilson. I appreciate that. So and I'm a nobody, but on the same token, I don't mind keeping the ball rolling. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Neil. We all owe Neil a debt of gratitude. Well, you know, he's had a business here on the south side for 30 years or as long as I can remember, and to have somebody like Neil involved and interested in what we're going to do going forward is a godsend for all of us. So thank you, Neil. One of the things that I did notice a lot last week was that here there's a lot of county residents that were at the meeting last week. If you live in the county, if you live in the county and not the city, could you raise your hand? So I estimated it at 50% last week, but that's a little more. So I did say something to Judge Clymer and Commissioner Bill Barterman, and he's agreed to be here tonight, and I believe he wants to say a few words. So, Commissioner Barterman.
Thank you, Mayor, and I appreciate you and leadership you've had in this, and the City Commission, everybody who worked hard to get this meeting together. I remember 25 years ago when Albert Jones was mayor. He had driven through the north side of town, and he saw a lot of dilapidated buildings and high weeds and things that needed to be cleaned up. And one Saturday, he had a meeting where we all walked through. I don't know if I was on the commission then or not, but we walked through the north side of town and to just get a look at what was going on there. And at that time, he made the decision. He had his code enforcement officer with him, and he told him, "I want you to start tomorrow to let these people know that we need this community cleaned up. We need these buildings repaired." And after that happened, people got interested and they cleaned up things themselves. A lot can be done if we just clean up the lots that we have, if we mow grass, if we clean out ditches and all. I drove through the south side today on the Farley area in the county and the city area and noticed there's just a lot. It just needs a little bit of cleanup where somebody needs to mow some grass or paint a building and all. So I think a lot can be done to make things happen there, get people involved in it. I didn't physically attend the meeting last week, but I watched it on Facebook. Channel 6 broadcast it live on Facebook, and I watched it on Facebook. One great thing I took as a takeaway from that is the people of the community wanted to get involved, and they understood that they had to have some responsibility and do some things to improve their neighborhood. And I think that was the big thing that I saw there, and that's what has to happen. You can't depend on government to come in and do everything. People have to buy into it and get involved in it. And I think that's the big thing I noticed in the last week's meeting. There's different kinds of grants that are available that can help with some things. There's a neighborhood stabilization program. It hasn't been funded by the federal government, but that kind of, if that's ever funded again, it would be a perfect grant opportunity to help do that. I sat in on a 2-hour webinar this afternoon on the COVID stimulus package. It was just signed into law today. There's a lot of money in there. It's not clear on exactly how all that money can be spent, but there's a lot of money in there to help deprived neighborhoods and neighborhoods that need improvement. So it could be there's a lot of grant opportunities in that. Cities and counties are also going to get some money from that, but depending on how the federal government writes those regulations, there could be some help in that area. I told Neil Ward when I came in, I used to be a newspaper reporter, and I had a friend of mine who worked at a TV station in Louisville, and he'd come down to West Kentucky occasionally to do different stories. He'd come down to the Fancy Farm all the time. One night after the Fancy Farm picnic, he said, "Do you want to go out for dinner?" And I said, "Great." He's on an expensive count. We'll probably go to some nice steakhouse and all. He wanted to go to Bob's Drive-In to get a Fiesta burger. And he said when he came to West Kentucky, there's 3 places he went. He went to Bob's Drive-In to get a Fiesta burger, Harnon's Barbecue to get a barbecue, and Parker's out in Lone Oak to get a hamburger. And he liked to go to local restaurants, and that's very encouraging to hear that. And I think all these restaurants have really have a good clientele, and people enjoy going to those. I think with the spring coming, I think people get in the mood to clean up and do things. And I think if we can begin an effort coordinated by the city and the county to get the neighborhoods cleaned up and encourage people to clean up their property, I think that'll go a long way to getting things started and getting people excited about cleaning up. I remember on the north side when they did some of that early on, there were Boy Scouts got involved and volunteered to help some senior citizens that needed to be helped. There were church groups and others got involved to help meet some of those things. So I know Farley Elementary School is not in the city, it's in the county, but I really hope there's something we can figure out to do with that. I went out and looked at that today. I'm told that building has been violated, people broken into it, and they've caused a lot of damage inside, but that would make a great community center of some kind. And if we could get some nonprofit group to take that over, put that to repurpose for the neighborhoods and for the community, I think that would be good. One thing that is in the COVID bill that we can spend money on is nonprofits to do things to help provide services to people. So maybe there's some responsibilities to that. I can't speak on behalf of all the county commissioners and the judge executive, but I think we'll be committed to working side by side with the city to help improve the south side, help improve the Farley community in the county, and I just think that can be accomplished. I think we really need to go about this in two different ways. We need to do the residential area as one effort and the commercial and industrial area as another effort to help create jobs in the community. I've always hoped that on the south side we're fortunate to have a Walmart there. We've got a Lowe's. There are anchors that bring a lot of people in. And I know a lot of people go to Bob's Drive-In. I don't want anything to put him out of business, but if we could get a high-quality name brand restaurant on that side of town, I think that would really help for development in that side of town. Because a lot of people, when I go to the Walmart on the south side, I see a lot of people who live out in the west part of the county because they don't want to get involved in the traffic in that part of town, and they come to this part of town because the traffic's not bad. It's easier to get in and out of. But if we can get maybe a name brand restaurant on that side of town, I think that'll draw others in. I think they would do well on this side of town. It draws people in from Marshall County, Livingston County, and they get off the interstate at Husbands Road or John Prior Drive and come in. So I want to commit as a county commissioner. It's something I've wanted to see happen for a long time. I'm glad the city's been able to launch this effort. And again, the county, from my standpoint, will do everything we can to be partners in whatever happens. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Bartleman. Appreciate very much you being here, and the partnership between the city and county is very important, not only here, but in many things that we do. So a little, just to let everybody know, I know there's probably some people here that were here tonight that were here last week. We do have our staff from the city that are here that are taking copious notes of what's said. And we were just talking over here before we got started. I think in the next couple of weeks, we'll sit down, all of us that have been here, and we'll synthesize these notes and try to put them into themes and give us sort of a strategy map, if you will, on how to go forward and how to move along here. So I was challenged last week about what was going to be the follow through, how long was it going to take, and so I tried. I kind of committed to 90 days, and I think that's a reasonable amount of time for us to get back and begin to get a plan together. So the ground rules for tonight, really, we want to hear. I see a lot of faces that were here last week, so I hope we got some new faces because we want to hear from new folks. We want to get an idea of exactly what's on your mind. It's important that we hear from you. I think what the city is looking for, and the county's here tonight, so if we kind of approach this jointly, we're looking for a partnership. I think the city, the county, government, if you want to put us in one category, what we can do, can we provide stimulus? Can we provide funds? We're getting ready to go through a budgeting period. So this is something that we have to plan for. But yes, I think we can figure out a way how to commit funds to do things. But what's most important is that we have a partnership with the community itself, the businesses, the residents, those who want to make change, positive change. And if we do that together, then I think we've really got something here. So with that, I want to open up the floor for anybody that wants to come up and say anything. If you said something last week, you're welcome to come up again. But I sure would like to hear from perhaps somebody that that we didn't hear from last week. So, yes, sir.
Hello, everybody. My name is Bob Cherry. I've been in Paducah already all my life, other than when I was working in the oil field. And they said they wanted to have some suggestions of things that could happen on the south side of Paducah that would really interest people and be of service to the people. And the idea came up about a dog park. Now, that's a wonderful idea, but they'd say, well, where would we put it? And try not to make the city pay for too much. I know there's kind of strapped for funds, but got a piece of property that's 530 feet by 532 feet. Front end is 250 feet. The back end is 385 feet that the city can have for free. Now, but it's easy for me to tell you that because the city already owns it, but they don't know it. Now, what's happened is when my father was mayor, he had some good friends like Wayne Sullivan and Jim Munnell and all that, and they were trying to improve the south side and wanted to make it where they could have fire department could come down 9th Street, make a straight shot from Broadway all the way out here on the south side without any diversions and out running any red lights. Well, they had to fill in the Island Creek area here, And so we turned around and the city used it to dump all fill, I'm talking about bricks and whatnot in that area, and filled it up, and then they capped it all off with dirt, finally cut the road through. And believe it or not, they named it Cherry Park Number 1. Now, it was combination dump or Cherry Park Number 1, but we got the road through and everything. My dad was very pleased, and Mr. Bunnell was glad, and then all of a sudden it just kind of went away. And I've got pictures of it right here. I went to the inspection department and asked for it, and they said, what? It doesn't exist. Then I asked them for a map. They went, map? We don't have a map. I went to the tourist council, tried to get a map, City of Paducah. Ain't got a map. But here's the description of it, and for y'all that don't really know how to get there, if you were coming on Broadway and you turn on Walter Chaton Boulevard and go all the way down Walter Chaton Boulevard, keep on going until you hit the dead end down there, and that's it. And that's the start of it. Or if you go down and come by Old Bait House and you turn at the light and you go until you see the first vacant lot on your left, that's it. But I think that would be a wonderful place to, to do this. And it wouldn't cost the city anything, not nearly $20 million. Now, the other thing that I really was interested in was I really have always wanted to be able to take a canoe and put it on Island Creek. Anytime you go over it, you look at it. I've been on.
Sorry, we have a 3-minute limit, so
Okay.
if you could just.
All right, I'll knock that up. But it would be
That's my fault, I didn't tell you.
It would be nice if we could get to Island Creek, get some way to be able to put a canoe in there. I'm not talking about putting big boats in there. I'm talking about like Hiawatha. We could have kayaks and canoes. That's a beautiful area, and it would cost the city nothing, except you'd have to maybe put 2 loads of gravel. Thank you very much, and here's the directions.
Thank you, Bob. I don't know if you knew this, but my grandfather, who I'm named after, George Thomas, actually served with your father's commission. So they knew each other. So thank you very much. So I apologize, but I did fail to mention that we have a 3-minute timeline to let everybody speak so that we can keep moving through it. And people did sign up. So I'm going to call on the people that signed up first. And if you didn't sign up, I saw a hand back there in the back. But we will get to you. So the first person that signed up is Sheila Smith. Oh, you were the one that raised your hand.
I am Sheila Smith Anderson, so I do apologize if there is a Sheila Smith here. My question and my concern is about a grocery store. We have a lot of places where people can go to the dollar store and buy a lot of fat-filled carbohydrates, and those are good, but they're killing our kids, killing our families in this time. So when you look at a grocery store from Park Avenue or Kroger to Southside Walmart, we have a food desert. So I would ask that we would at least do a survey, do a needs assessment, a feasibility assessment regarding that. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheila. Excellent point. And that came up last week, and it's something that I've heard recurring. So it's definitely something that we'll follow up with. Andrea Underwood.
Good evening. I live in Reedland, so I'm technically not a city resident, but I've worked in the city for years. So at least twice a day, I drive through the south side. And I'm going to kind of touch on what Bill said a little bit. I agree a lot with what's been said previously about some of the residential improvements, but I'm going to focus on commercial and the commercial corridor on the south side. we've had some gaps in commercial development over the last several years there, and some of those have gotten bigger. I've noticed over the last couple of years. And I would like to reinforce the idea that we have some sort of specific strategy and vision for that commercial corridor, because that is the billboard for the people coming into the community from that side of town. And right now, I think it kind of, while there are some bright spots, it kind of sends the message that it's not necessarily a thriving community. And I would like to change that message. I would hope that maybe that there is an actual strategy, that maybe that's one of the early things you do for trying to maybe clear off some of those lots, like residential care center. I know you're working on that. But, when I drive through now, I try to visualize what could be there. And when I look at the area between here and Walmart, I look at the empty properties down there where the old Pepsi building is. The Jackson Purchase Energy facility will be empty eventually when they finish their new facility. There's that wooded lot there. That whole section there, to me, could even be combined if you had a street closure there, and maybe there's room for some commercial development there, a small manufacturing facility. I see on the lot there by CFSB with all the trees, I see another city park, and I know maybe you have all the parks you want, but when I think about the things that send the message that this is a community, that I see people gathering there and enjoying and being together. And I think if we could have a couple of wins in that commercial corridor, big wins, then it sends the message to other people that, yes, good things are happening here, and I want to be a part of that, and maybe people would want to invest. So that's what I would encourage you to do. And one other quick thing, when I think about the revitalization in other parts of the community that have happened over the years, Lower Town, for example, that all took years to take place. And it happened because of a lot of creativity on the part of several people, and people did not give up. And it felt like the whole community was fighting for that revitalization. And I hope that you will not just work on the South Side. I want you to fight for the South Side and be in it for the long haul.
Thank you very much, Ms. Underwood. Those were great comments, particularly as it relates to strategy. I think that makes perfect sense for us to really think about, the commercial corridor and the strategy around that, and make no mistake, what we're setting out to do here is definitely going to take some time, and it's not months, it's years. But we have to start somewhere. The first step of a journey starts always with the first step. So, but thank you for your comments. Mary, the next person is Mary Thomas.
Good evening. I'm Mary Thomas. I was born on the South Side. I grew up on the South Side. I went to school on the South Side until I went to Tillman. So to me, the South Side is home. When I speak of the South Side, the area that I have reference to begins at Washington and goes all the way to Bridge Street. It starts at South 5th Street and goes all the way over to South 13th Street. To me, that's the South Side. And that's the most neglected area in the city of Paducah. It's like it's the stepchild of the city, that area of Paducah. If you do a drive-through starting from Washington, you have Clark and Adams and Jones and Husband, all those streets. If you just do a drive-through on those streets, the streets are deplorable. You have a lot of vacant and dilapidated homes. You have lots that need to be cleaned. And so my concern is that if you give, in giving consideration to the areas of Paducah, please give this area of Paducah serious consideration, because before we can do anything extra commercial, we need to get the areas cleaned up and livable. So that's my concern. And in budgeting for upgrading, please give this area serious consideration. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. And you make some good points. One of the things that's just come up today is the city has the opportunity to apply for a grant. It's a small grant, but it's a grant to begin the process to inventory homes in particular area that are eligible for historical, I don't want to say it right, tax credits, or be put, they're historical in nature. And I think, there are certain parts of the city that we would go and begin to look at, and this may well be, one of those that we would focus on, but we have to start somewhere to start to inventory our homes. And to your point, you ask us to start here, but I think we can do more than one thing at one time. So I just think, again, we're looking for that partnership with people to identify where we start, and then pull people together, not only residents and businesses, but the city as well, and then get started. So thank you for your comments. Esther Van Dyke. Oh, okay. Are these signed up for speakers? Oh, okay. Okay. Mary Byrne.
I agree with Mary as far as the district or the geographical area to concentrate on. I think that if you concentrate on an area and really significantly make some changes there, it will have ripple effects. I have bought 2 houses in that area from the tax sale, and haven't yet really started to work on them, but it would be really wonderful that if people are buying abandoned houses, that the city maybe do a match or somehow help people turn these houses into livable, functioning residences.
Thank you. We're going to follow up on all of these suggestions, these ideas, but somehow, providing some funding for matching funding or help in certain areas is certainly an idea that's percolating out there that, it's going to get discussed a lot. Okay, next one, Tamara Tracy.
Good evening. I'd like to start with my 3 minutes for the story, a baseball story. And you'll see where it goes at the end. I'd like to remind you all of the Oakland A's. And the Oakland A's baseball team in the early 2000s, they stunk. They were bad. And being one of the worst teams, consequently, they were very underfunded. But a new general manager, Billy Bean, came on board, And he realized that just using the same old stats that every baseball aficionado used and the proverbial gut feeling about a player really wasn't resulting in any wins. Hence, they were there at the bottom. So what he did was he partnered with a very talented economist, and he used data-driven tactics to revolutionize how a team is formed and operated. And he turned the A's into a first-rate team. In fact, that first-rate team was the first team in over 100 years to have 20 wins in a row. He did all this in 2 years because he looked at the data differently. He grabbed the correct data that he needed. And this is really important tonight and here because you're going to be making decisions about these neighborhoods, spending a lot of money probably too. But you also have to remember that these are people's lives, so these decisions are very important. And they must be made on the right data, not a gut feeling, not the things that we've always done because it obviously isn't working. And it means developing a strategy that you commit to. And when you commit to a strategy, if something comes up that doesn't fit that commitment, you have to have the guts, the discipline to say no. And I'm here to speak these words because sometimes uncomfortable decisions have to be made. And I'm challenging you to take the time to get the right data, to look at it, and to follow it to the creative solutions that the South Side needs. It needs to be creative like Lower Town was. And it's not the same solution because it's different. And I'm also afraid to share with you a little bit that these decisions and the data shouldn't be forced by an artificial 90-day time frame because this South Side, these neighborhoods deserve more than just a knee-jerk reaction. I want to give you another example of going with the data. In 2015 and 2017, the City of Paducah conducted a citizen satisfaction survey, and the aggregate results led us all to believe that everything was fine, people were happy. But the real data, I hear you all chuckling, the real data, if you look deeper, not the data that the media gave you, but the data, real data, showed that the younger adult population and the older people of color population were not happy. And yet that got swept under the rug. And there's an example right there in our own town that says we have to look at the real data. And I'm challenging you to hold out for the good data and take the time because this community deserves it. And in doing that, I think what you're going to come away with is more of a process that takes the time to gather the data, to analyze it and follow up. And that would probably look like, and I would suggest it look like, that there be actually more than just these 2 public sessions. And I think it should be broken up by each of these neighborhoods because each one of them deserves that. And it should be also include the process of letting the neighborhood bring forth their own assets. Because there's a lot of assets out there in the neighborhood that's going to be ignored. And that means people assets too. And I also know that the the city of Paducah is going to be challenged with the comprehensive plan update, and that might be a way to facilitate a more robust examination of these challenges facing these neighborhoods. And again, they deserve it.
Thank you. Thank you, Tamara. And her message is very spot on. Using data to make decisions is very important. I'm a baseball fan, and I remember very well the story about Billy Beane. I mean, he really, not only did he revolutionize the Oakland A's, but he revolutionized baseball. And that's why you see these 35-year-old pitchers, who won 23 games and have a low ERA, get let loose. Because the data suggests that there's a certain point, when you're not going to be able to pitch as well. So he used data, and all of baseball is using data. So it's an excellent message. Thank you very much. Okay, Wanda Wilson? Okay, so you're not signed up to talk. Okay. So I'm not sure exactly. So at this point, we're just gonna, if you'd like to say something, maybe raise your hand. Yes, sir. First one. I'll get to you next, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Robert Sember. I'd like to speak to Tamara's point and Miss Mary's point. Everybody's got their own version of Southside. I have my Southside. 30 years ago, when I moved to the Southside, I had 10 houses that surrounded my house. Today, only 3 of these houses are occupied. All 10 previously were all owner-occupied. Now, we have 2 owner-occupied, 1 rental, 1 part-time rental. 4 are empty, 2 have been demolished. The 4 that are empty, 2 have been empty for more than a decade, and the other 2 are marginal. You can't leave houses sit empty. You just can't. Because local entrepreneurs will come in and they'll happily remove your copper plumbing, they'll remove your wiring, they'll remove your heat and air, and some of the industrious ones will take your ductwork. Okay, this is unacceptable. Why do poor people abandon houses in neighborhoods? These houses mostly were abandoned after the owners passed away. So what's the commonality here? Did they die without a will? Did the families not care about where their parents were living? I think we need to look at why these places get abandoned. There must be some commonality here. And to Mr. Bartleman's point about cleaning up and doing the Jones administration, well, that's somewhat true, but let's think about how many demolishes there were. Does anybody know the number? I think it was over 500 were demolished. Some of these were warranted, yes, but many of these houses had good bones and could have been fixed. And in the zeal for cleanup, we got a little carried away. And I think the one man at Jefferson and Fountain Avenue, a beautiful home, he was so offended by what was going on, he destroyed his own home. Does anybody remember this? We can't keep going down the same road all the time. The Fountain Avenue is a huge success. Lower Town is a huge success. But there is a lot of area on this map. And all these neighborhoods, as Ms. Tracy pointed out, are different. My neighborhood's going to be a ghost town. I like it. It's quiet. But it's not really a neighborhood when it's like living in the country when you're right inside the city. So I'm hoping that with this forum, we can address some of these issues, but the people that own these abandoned homes, or if you know people that own these abandoned homes, encourage them to put them on the market, to sell them. If you can't sell them, find someone to give it to. Apparently there's a housing shortage. You can sell a house fast now. We got people abandoning this town. We have all these houses that are sitting empty. I'm sorry, that's all I got. Thank you.
Perfect. What neighborhood are you in? Okay, thank you. So great points. Kind of comes back to Tamara's point about data and what we do in some of these neighborhoods. So again, we're capturing all of this, and we're definitely going to follow up. So there was a lady back in the back. Yes, ma'am. Oh, there's rules for double teaming.
Hello, my name is Deneen Roberts Robinson. I am the descendant of the author Ted Roberts and Diana Wim Roberts. I have been trying for the past 4 years to get South 8th Street renamed after my father. I'm sure you're wondering why. My father was the first postmaster in Western Kentucky, African-American postmaster in Western Kentucky and Southern Indiana. My father also helped Miss Merriman Kemp start the Merriman House. He has done a lot of work in the city of Paducah. He was honored by Congressman James Comer on the Senate floor. Now, my thing is, if he can honor him, why come the city of Paducah can't honor this man? For one, my father wasn't even from Paducah, Kentucky. He married my mother out in California. He was a Navy man. They were married. She wanted to come home. So Paducah was her home. He made Paducah his home. I have two other siblings. This is one of his grandchildren. And we have done everything possible. Like I said, my father passed away 4 years ago, January 26th. From that day on, I have been trying to see about this. Our former mayor told me some things I needed to do. Get these signatures. I got signatures. I was dismissed. I'm tired of being dismissed. There's a lot of things that, like I said, my father was a member of the NAACP. He helped with that. He helped with the beginning of the NAACP chapter here. The 8th of August committee. He did a lot of work for the city of Paducah, not to even be from here. He started the OIC, which started out being, what they did was help people get GEDs. This was before they even started at the community college. He started a school. He hired teachers. He trained people to perform, how to dress for to get a job, how to write resumes. When Kentucky Oaks Mall opened up, he helped the people out there at the mall get employees. In fact, some of them just recently retired not long ago. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, I think his name is Gary Harris. He was a member of the Paducah Fire Department until he retired. He was one of my father's students. So my thing is, if my father can do all of this, he can be honored by a congressman, stop the meeting on the floor and be honored. Why come I can't get this to happen to be honored here in Paducah? Now, my thing is, I am a lot like a lot of the relatives in my family. My mother was a Williams, and who was the owner of Cecil's Barbecue. That was her big brother. And it's like this, I come from a long line of fighters. So my thing is, if I can't get it done today or get it done soon, I will not stop. You will continue to keep seeing my face. Thank you.
Thanks, Deneen. I can tell your quest is not over, and I've met with Deneen, and I'm sure we'll meet again, so thank you very much. Anyone else have something? Okay. Yes, sir. Neil.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I come to you with sincerity on my heart. This is on the behalf of you all that's here and people who came last week. You know that I'm a Paducahian at heart. I love Southside, so I grew up. But rather than come in for a story or anything, I'm just going to share something. I grew up, my first recollection of living in Paducah was on Clark Street. I lived next door to Driver's Grocery. When we moved, I moved across the street from Driver's Groceries. Deneen knows who I am. We grew up together, running through the alleys. It was a very, very, very vibrant community off of just, I guess, west of downtown, right there by the courthouse. When we moved next door to Mr. Cross on Ohio Street, 615 Ohio Street. And then when I moved again, it was right across the street in Paul Roof's house at 612 Ohio Street. Coming back to Paducah is a pleasure, it's a blessing, especially in the role that I serve as the CEO of the House Cross Boys and Girls Club. I came back because I have a lot to give, because it's that same community of Southside that helped raise me. I grew up on each one, teach one. It takes a village to raise a child. So when I take my daughter, who is 9-year-old right now, and we drive through, like Miss Mary said, Southside, there is no house that I first grew up in. There is not the house that I grew up going to see Sid and working for him and delivering sack lunches to the courthouse and walking back home. I see Deneen's house there, but it's not the same house that it was when we used to go and hang out with some other friends. The friends that lived on the next block over, which is the same block that the community center is at right now. Those houses are gone. When I walk up the street, my house is gone. When I first grew up when I moved on Ohio Street, that was a house that was owned by Austin Realtors. Obviously, the house that I spent most of my teenage years in is also gone. It's the house that Paul Roof used to own. That's what these people are saying to you. That's what I see. I'm very passionate. I'm working on a project now because Mr. Cross's house is still there. I just recently found out that there was something that used to be on the table about a project that he was working on, and that kind of somewhat folded. You see, Mayor Breyer, when I grew up, there was Hammock Funeral Home, Dr. Morton. There was Driver's Grocery, Jack Dismore, up the street from him. They had Lincoln Court, they had Blackburn Court, we had Cobb Park. They all had swimming pools. This was a vibrant South Side with economic development and economic opportunities. I believe this is what we're all trying to say, that in moving forward, those things have to be aligned in order for us to be able to prosper and share the wealth together. That's what Southside brought. But I see, I don't mean to throw any stones out, but when I go on Southside now, it's the growth of our judicial system. And there is especially no African-American prosperity in the neighborhoods. None. I grew up seeing that. That's what Mr. Cross brought to see to us. I would love to have the opportunity to bring that to the kids and the youth growing up right now in Paducah. And you hold the key. Before I leave, this man is the man for it. He has had my back at the Boys and Girls Club. He's let me know when I've been wrong. He did not chastise me. He gave me an opportunity for growth. And I challenge each and every one of you here, because it's going to be a process. It's a process of me learning my job at the club. It's going to be a process of you being a hero that I think you can be in the mayor's seat. It's going to be a process for us as a community. But we have to work together, and we have to embrace each other's differences. That's what I want to bring to you today. If we have those things aligned and giving everybody opportunity for economic growth, Paducah is going to flourish more than what we already are. I thank you for your time.
Thank thank you, Neil. Neil and I go back, and we've worked very closely together. We both have a passion for the children in our community, and especially those who need us most. And so thank you very much for being here and making those remarks. I will say, finally, I think what you said, I think you're preaching to the choir. I mean, I think, I am totally aligned with you. We have a lot of work ahead of us, but I am aligned, and I thank you for your comments. Okay, yes, sir.
Hello, everybody. At this point, I'm going to keep my mask on if you all don't mind, because I'm embarrassed of the job that I just inherited. I'm representing Country Oaks Mobile Home Park. And like I said, I'm keeping it on. And I've got my job cut out for me. I think you all are familiar with it. It just changed hands. It's got a new owner. And I've been in there since Monday from morning to noon. And we're going to strive to clean it up, take care of all that's needed. It's going to be a Country Oaks community when we're done with it. I was caught off guard. I was under the impression the meeting was next week, so I wasn't prepared, but I'm keeping this on right now. But when I'm finished, I'm going to take it off and smile. So, but just saying that, we're doing our part to make sure that we're bringing that up for a good, safe community, economical for low-income people to live in. So saying that, we're going to work hard to do our part. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. I mean, thank you. Thank you for those comments. And that's what we need. We need all of us coming together, whether or not we're owners and renting, or whether we're owners and we just need to fix up our own property, so. Sure.
Stand there if you want. I'm going to be the new property manager there. And it's my job to do this. I got financial funding behind me. He's well established. I got the finances, and he's in it for the long haul. Okay, we have also had talked, and he is checking in on things as well. And I think he is the owner, which is Casey Roloff from Arizona, Border Patrol agent. And we would like to, on the side lot behind the toilet, behind the community there, we would like to make that into a small, tiny home community. What we'd like to do right there in that lot. And which has got to be developed. All that's got in the planning, and we have to work with you all on. So, thank you.
Make sure we have your contact name, email, cell, all that information. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, I saw another hand in middle in the back. Yes, sir, with the hat on. Yes, sir, that's you. Pastor.
Mayor, Commissioners, everybody, good evening. I met with the Southside Association before this meeting and between the two. A lot of things that everybody talked about last meeting, and a lot of things that were said this meeting was also on the list of things that the organization was going to speak about this evening. One of the main things that really everybody's pushing on is they can let up on some of the codes. It seemed like we'll let up codes and we'll waiver all these, not fines, but where you have to pay to build things, the permits. If you come from out of town and you want to build something here, they'll get rid of the permits for them, but they won't do it for the citizen that's paying the taxes and live here. What kind of sense does that make? Charity starts at home. If you can give them a permit break, why can't you give us a permit break? It's ridiculous. Now, I say this for the whole South Side, and I think everybody in this room that lived on the South Side would agree with me. I know that the agriculture department moved out of Paducah somewhere else. I got that information. But the mosquitoes over here is ridiculous. The moment I step out of my car, I get attacked. It's like a war zone just to go in my house. I have all this land. I can't even enjoy it until almost the end of fall and all winter, spring. And then after that, if I don't get my yard treated, it's ridiculous. I mean, you call the department or you email them as they ask, and they say if you do that, they'll send the smoke truck around, or several people in your community have to. Been doing this for 5 years. I haven't seen one truck. Is there any way that you all can sick y'all dogs on them to get off their behind and do something about this? That's all I want to know.
Thank you. Thank you. You know, I don't, you know, like Neil said earlier, you know, he had a really good 7 days because there was a lot of things happened. You know, the press is here tonight, and a lot of things got reported, and so a lot of things got followed up on this week, and that's what we're looking for. So we're capturing, Pastor, that information, and we will follow up. So hard for me to, you know, give you instant answers, you know, when you look me in the eye like that and ask for an answer, but we will follow up. I think I saw Eddie Jones. Are you here? So Commissioner Eddie Jones, Commissioner Bartleman spoke earlier, but I just want to recognize one of our elected officials. Thank you, Commissioner Jones, for being here. It's important. Your partner up here, your colleague, committed, I think, what, like $1 million or $2 million? $3 million from the county. So, okay, I saw another hand. All right, Steve.
Thank you. My name's Steve Ballard. Me and my wife own the Old Bait House. Her dad owned it before us. The Old Bait House is down the street. It's been in the city ever since it came about. I would like to see, and I think we could make it work, we need a division between, I think, the commercial side of it and the residential side of it. Both sides need help. But I think that if the city could have a meeting, sit-down meeting for just the commercial side of the groups, where we could actually, as business owners, because I know several of the business owners are here, we are for and we're committed to helping this side of town with development. But if we don't have somebody behind us working or pushing or understanding what we need to do and how we can help fund it and all that, we can't move forward. I appreciate all the residential people here speaking, but there's two different groups present here tonight, and it's two different places that we need to really be. You know, so if we can all get together as far as business owners. I talked to some of the business owners here, and there was a group at one time of business owners that gathered or met together and discussed, you know, some things about the South Side to make it better. But it's kind of got dissolved over the years. So if we could probably, if the city could probably work on trying to get that together, another meeting just for business owners to see if we can get together and put our heads together and do something. So thank you.
Thank you, Steve. And I don't know if you guys were here early, but you know, I mean, I recognize, we all recognize that there's really two threads here. You know, there's sort of a business commercial thread and then a residential. And on the residential side, we need to look at neighborhood redevelopment, and that could happen in a variety of ways. But on the business side, it's really, as I see it, it's and Neil, where are you, Neil? Are you here? Yeah. No, a different Neil. Sorry, Neil Ward. You know, has been passionate, you know, since we got started, and So we need more of that passion, and so I'm just going to stand here and commit that the city will get behind, the effort that you all make. So I think, somehow, some way, we will get behind you. So we're going to, again, we're going to synthesize our notes. We're all going to get together, and there's been a lot of data. To Tamara's point earlier, there's been a lot of data coming here in the last couple of weeks, a lot of comments. So we have to figure out a way to follow up on everything. But I appreciate your comments. Thank you very much. Okay, yes, sir. In the mask. Yes, sir. I'll get to you right next, sir. Yeah, please. Oh, with the mask. Yeah, if you got a mask on, stand up.
I was a little confused in the mask. I would keep my mask on because I've gained a little bit of weight since my TV days. But I just wanted to get up here and first off encourage you guys, because you all have a pretty big task ahead of you. I do want to say that throughout my time as a journalist in this community, I've talked with a number of people in every side of this town and surrounding towns. But something that always stuck out to me when I was on the news beat was the fact that Southside, it was just a narrative that always kept coming up. It's like Southside's been forgotten. And I talked to the people in Southside and everybody that lives in Southside. It's like we've had these promises made to us for years and years and years and years. And they just haven't seen a lot of forward movement. So then I start trying to figure out, well, why is that? And looking into those things and trying to chase down those leads. And there's a lot of off-the-record information that happens that any good journalist won't report off-the-record information. But with that, I do want to say that having forums like these and everything is a good way to go. But I just want to encourage you that as you all move forward in this process, I think the best bet that you have is to really get out and hit the streets and talk with people one-on-one, because not everybody is going to be comfortable coming forward like this in a public setting. And as a journalist, I also learned that off-the-record information was sometimes the most valuable information to give me my leads. And in the same way, I definitely think that it's going to be, things mentioned here tonight are great, but again, I think it's going to be your one-on-one conversations that are really going to do it. So I just want to encourage you guys in that and think outside of the box with this. To Tamara's point, I think this is definitely going to deserve more time than the 90-day time frame or a year or 2 years. I don't live on Southside, but I grew up in Louisville, on the south side of Louisville, actually, and we were very much like Southside and Paducah. We always felt forgotten, and resources just never really seemed to come our way. But those things, that tide has kind of turned, and some things, good things are going in Southside of Louisville. So I know it can work. I think it's just a matter of us putting our feet to the fire and running the race, so to speak. And I thank you for your time, and just want to encourage you guys and let you know that we'll be praying for you. And I think you have the buy-in of the community for sure. I think at this point, it's just running the race, so to speak. So appreciate you guys. Oh, sorry. I got on rambling. I'm Bryce Mansfield. I work at CFSB on the south side. I'm not speaking on behalf of CFSB if I'll get in trouble for it. But yeah, I work in this community. Don't live in this community, but I've definitely spent a lot of time here just between both my jobs, and have really grown to love it because it mirrors a lot of where I grew up in Louisville. So I definitely hope to see some good things come from this.
Thank you, Bryce. Thank you. That's awesome. That comparison to south side of Louisville is that's very impactful. Thank you. Yes, sir. Back there, right in the middle. I'll never live the mask down. I'll never live it.
First of all, I give honor to God, give honor to the mayor and commissioners, to all the official electees, to all the people that have concern. I'm a resident of Paducah, and I've had a chance to travel out the country, around the nation, tried to leave, but I'm Paducah born, bred, born, fed on the South Side, born in a shotgun house right behind old Lincoln School. His name is Pastor Charles Dunbar. And as a young man, I saw a lot of great things. I saw diversity and I saw racism. But I saw it in a time that back in the 60s, my dad worked at Old Paducah Dry. Some of you don't remember it. But he was a warehouse manager there. I saw people, entrepreneurs, both black and white, were able to come together and have economic empowerment. Miss Woolies, Jack Dismore, Miss Miles, Miss Merrific, Mr. Shorty Nunn. These were entrepreneurs, and many, many, many more. They were able to take those gifts that they had and develop a little decent living. My prayer is that we begin to train people for entrepreneurship. I played ball for Paducah Tillman, all purchase, all region, all district. Superstar, but I didn't get far. But I have a heart for Paducah. I love Paducah. I love the things. I love our potential. Even the country, people, you got to go out of the country and come back, and then you'll learn to love it. Because we do have issues, but for the most part, we're a blessed country, and Paducah's the same way. I've been out, and I got a chance to come back. But I've seen diversity. My recommendation is that we would help on the South Side where there is low-interest loans or grants, and don't penalize the people to the point that you become a burden or a taskmaster. You work with them to edify. Most people trying to keep their homes up and properties up. If you would spend some money, it's good to build brick and mortar, but our main purpose is to build people and impact lives that they are transformed by the power of God and by good people around them. So if you would help people change their mindset, they would be able to take pride in their property. Number two, I had an opportunity to be a supervisor in Memphis for Felder's Environmental Service. We need training for youth to even know how to get a job. A lot of them don't even know how to take an interview. But until we do some things intentional to impact lives, you can build all the buildings, you can build everything, structure, and I'm for that. But at the end of the day, we got to build lives. We got to be hands and feet and prayers and bridges to help people that are dealing with dysfunction, struggles and battles, poverty and mental issues. We can help people, okay? So if we get a training program for them, give them opportunity to be trained, how to go get an interview, how to dress for success, how to talk, how to walk. Because I was taught as a manager, you don't hire everybody. When they come through the door, they talk to managers and supervisors. Those kids you can't even give them consideration. Thank you. One more thing. I'm a preacher, so I got a little long wind, but Reverend Henderson, he'll pull my coat, so I got to get out of here. But we need to partner. There's some services that churches are offering, nonprofit, partner with them and be behind them. They took a great loss through COVID. Support them, your nonprofits, because they are one offering services to people. And thank you, this is great. Appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Pastor Dunbar. You brought up a lot of things, but they were all very, very important things. So I thank you for bringing them up. But one thing that I'll kind of focus on that you said, and I think I mentioned this last week, but in all that we do here, our common denominator is that we all love Paducah. We're all here for a reason. We either grew up here or relocated here. This is home. And so we work through all of our issues, and our love for this community is really what drives us forward. And that's why we're all here. So thank you again for those comments. Okay, we got time for a couple of more. Yes, sir, right here.
Hello, my name's Charles Bunyan. I own a couple businesses here on the south side. Here recently, I just purchased some property on the south side. Been in business for 24 years in Paducah, born in the Reedland area. I left for a few years and went to the West End. Never was the same, so I moved back to the south side because that's just where home was for my business. What I see, and I agree with the, I can't remember your name, gentleman owns a bait shop, him and his wife. We do need to get the businesses together. We need to structurally get more businesses on this town. The only way for Southside to succeed is going to have money. Whether everybody wants to admit it or not, money is what makes the world go around. So we got to be able to bring the money in to be able to help the community. I do feel like over the years, and I've watched it throughout my years being on the south side, that, you know, the city, and a lot of, not necessarily y'all's terms, but south side has always been let down. Always has. You can drive through south side right now and see that there's homes and everything. I'm sure some of this was probably went over last week. I didn't make the meeting last week, but I have personally myself, since I bought some properties on south side and been trying to clean up a few things, we have tried to call in and request certain things to be done. It's a very simple task, you know, trash cleanups that's just overwhelmingly causing problems, and it takes months to get to the bottom of it. I don't know if there's courses that need to be taken to handle that quicker, or versus, you know, I know when tearing buildings down and restructuring properties, that does take time. That's going to take years for anybody, no matter who they are. But simple task of letting trash dumpsters that have buildings that have left and just see people just dumping trash and trash. That is a community problem. Community's got to come together, that we have to hold these people accountable that's walking around and busting beer bottles in our parking lots just because they can, you know, or walking around and, you know, you drive through the south side, you drive through a parking lot and there's dirty needles on the ground. I mean, that kind of stuff is where the community's got to step in and say, hey, we're not going to accept that from no matter who it is. You know, the only difference between West End and South End is that level. West End don't put up with it. The same stuff is in West End, the people just don't put up with it. South side, the people allow it. They don't call it in, they don't report it. I know our police are overwhelmed, they're doing all the best that they can possibly do. They are limited on what they can do. But everybody in the community would come together and just stop the trash, stop the overflow of just letting it go. You know, if we don't stop that, we're never going to go nowhere. I mean, there's several business owners here I know, and they have spent a ton of money, a ton of time, a ton of investments to keep businesses on the south side. And they still do this. You know, a lot of them are reaching retirement ages. You know, is the next group of coming behind them, you know, their kids or their whatever, are they going to carry on because their parents had the passion to keep the south side going? You know, if we don't make a difference in that level of getting it cleaned up as a community, not just as businesses owners. I mean, like I said, I'm a business owner. I deal with it on a daily basis too. I will do anything in my power on a business level or personal level to make it better, to make Southside grow, because that's what everybody ultimately in this room is wanting. Everybody wants Southside to be better and wants to be clean. It is going to start with all the community. It can't just be this business person or this business or just you trying to say, okay, we're going to tear down a few buildings and that's going to fix Southside. It's not. It's going to take everybody across the board to make a difference. But I think a lot of people just get frustrated because they see the growth and the passion that the city and county and everybody has put in the West End. You know, it is striving, it is doing great. And then they just get discouraged to the point of, you know, well, we don't care because the city's not going to do nothing. They're not going to help us. They're not going to take care of us. And then in the background, y'all may be. I mean, I know there's a lot of stuff that has to go through channels to get anything done. But I think if we could really just start showing the community here with the smallest gestures and just getting everything cleaned up and showing them that you care, and that way they get more involved and more they want to help, we're going to get farther than anything else that you could possibly do. Thank you.
Thank you, and you're right. Everything you said is right. I did want to call out while we're here. You mentioned how long it takes to get things done. You know, the last administration in the city established a customer experience department, or another way, a customer service department that really fields calls from people in the community and then establishes follow-up. Lindsay Parrish, our city clerk, who's here tonight, manages the folks in that department. Alex Sherwood is here, was here earlier. You know, these folks are really important, and it's and they're connected inside, and they're committed to follow through when people call in. And me as a mayor, I'll just tell you, everybody already knows it. You know, my middle name is follow through. So, you know, if there's an issue out there, if there's something that needs to get done, you know, we have a system in place to make sure that things don't take 3 or 4 months. So I'm not saying we don't ever make mistakes or we don't ever fail. You know, we'll pick ourselves up and we'll keep going, but we're committed to that. So, anybody else out there? Oh, wow. Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Sandra, and I am a Southside resident, born and raised here. Actually, just right on the other side of the, oh yeah, sorry. Just on the other side of the tracks. So literally, like, when the county, I tell people, like, oh, I live in the county, it's the county area, but it's literally right on the other side of the tracks. I can, like, throw a stone and my house is right there. Okay? I have watched this, these people in this town. I have been all around the world. I know someone else had mentioned that too. I've been everywhere, literally. But there's no place like it is for me when I come home. And I know that sheet that we were given, one of the questions was, what do you like most about Southside? And it's my neighbors. And right now I'm looking at a room with masks, but you guys are my neighbors. And so what I have done is, yes, it takes time and money to create projects, to finish projects, but what we can do, especially with the warmer weather coming, is we can help clean up little things, okay? If it just starts in your yard. So I created a Facebook page called Beautify Southside Paducah. You go to facebook.com/Beautify Southside Paducah. It's very early stages, but I've had this vision for a long time. It actually started when Mayor Bray was campaigning, if he remembers. I'm an avid cyclist. I ride a bicycle. I have a 20-mile route through Paducah, through Littleville, through all of Southside. I love it. Mayor Bray was campaigning at the time. I didn't know it, but I remember running up on Elemental Court, and I just see a team of T-shirts in white as I'm approaching. On your bicycle, I'm kind of going fast for me, but I'm actually slowing down quite a bit, which is good. But I see Mayor Bray, and I see this group of people, and as I approached, the back of the shirt just said, volunteer. But they were picking up the trash that on a bicycle I see so often on the south side, all around town. Not just in the inner city, but in the outside of the city, in the country. It's there, and it's bad. So I do this. Beautify Paducah has been on my mind. I see Mayor Bray doing what he does, and I immediately couldn't wait to get home and just find him on the internet and say, I saw what you did. And because of seeing what he did, it made me instantly think, beautify Paducah. That's beautify my town, my hometown, your hometown, right? So I've created this this Facebook page. I'll have all the social media accounts attached to it too. And what we're going to actually ask people to do is just start with your churches. I know these things have been brought up. Start with your churches, your schools, your volunteers, your community, and then just start posting things on the social media level, right? So it might be even a different outlet than what we're doing right here is reaching out to people through the social media markets. And yeah, just, it's free, y'all. It's free to help clean up. Everybody can do it, and it starts with you. It starts with us. So like my page, and let's beautify Southside, okay?
Thank you. I remember you that day on the bike, so thank you very much, Sandra. Okay, we're getting toward the end. We'll take 2 more people that want to say something. So, yes, sir. You first and you second. And we'll... Bob, it's good to see
you. I'm not from here. I moved here. I actually bought a house here 4 years ago. And one thing that I've loved about Paducah was when I went downtown and went to the city fairs, saw the people, it was a mixture of people. Well, when the rest of the country was falling apart, Paducah had it together. And the one thing we are lacking on the south side is a group effort. One of the things that keeps coming to mind is one of the big parts I keep hearing that brings this to mind is something John Fitzgerald Kennedy said. He said, don't ask what your city can do or what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. I think the same thing stands true when it comes to the city. It's not going to be just the businesses. It's not going to be just the people. It's not going to be just the city, but it's going to take all of us. I've heard that repeated over and over and over again tonight. And if we could get a project manager to find these little things that we can do together, I like the idea of the cleanup. When I worked with the mayor on one of his cleanups, we went ahead and mowed up and down the street. A couple days later, because I live here in the south side, I saw a pathway that my wife and I keep going around, which was overgrown with trees and bushes and everything else. So I went back there the next day, 2 days later, trimmed it all out. Now I got covered with bugs and everything else, bites and everything else. I suffered, I paid the price, but it looks a lot better today, and I'm sure more people walk that route than anybody else. And it didn't take me asking the city. It didn't take me asking, for help. It was something I could do myself, and I didn't ask to get attention from it. I just wanted to make the community better. And those are the types of little things each one of us can do daily, if not daily, weekly, to make a difference within our community. Me, myself, I didn't really know who to go to when it came to getting improvements done in the alley. I've got an alley that's got some big, huge potholes. If I could get gravel dumped in there, I'll grade it myself. I really believe in volunteerism. I volunteer for baseball this year. I'm a commissioner in the Little League that we're trying to bring back to Paducah. And I really believe that that's the way to make a town stronger and better. I could have picked anywhere. But I picked Paducah because of what's here and the people that work together. We need to make a difference. And as long as we can get almost a project manager to make the differences, I think it's what's going to take to get this stuff done, one at a time. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Jim. Yeah, Jim was right there with me, weed eating, picking up trash, and mowing. And Jim, you and I will be connected for the rest of our life because of that. So I'll never forget you. So thank you very much. Okay, I'll take one more speaker out there, and saw a hand over here. So yes, sir.
I'm Chris Ray, and I've been a proud server of you, of Southside, of Lowe's. I'm the store manager. Now, I want to commit to you, Mayor. If you give me containers, I will give you 568 hours of volunteer service of beautification. We will help you do your part. I've helped Brother O'Neill. I've done things in the Boys and Girls, Reedland Elementary. We've done other projects. And of course, the pandemic messed with us last year. But we do other community projects. But we have 568 hours that I can commit, not counting, of 122 employees that I know that I can get them to step behind me and help this out.
Thank you, Chris. You're the store manager where? Oh, at Lowe's, okay. The Southside Lowe's. I got that much, okay. So I said we weren't going to take any more, but I think I missed somebody that's been trying to, so I will allow one more person. Who was it? Okay.
Wanting to make, my name's Chester Hack. I live out in Littleville. I just want to make sure that we have not overlooked something that's not been thought about. There's a possibility that some of our elderly and our convalescents, folks that can't get around, don't have vehicles or cars, may not be able to get to the hospital out there at Lourdes or Baptist to get their shot. I know the health department here in Paducah held one that was held at the convention center downtown. I know on this side we're going to have a CVS, our Kroger's on this side doesn't have a pharmacy, and we're going to have Walmart. So what we'll do, just check with your neighbors, especially your elderly. I can't go to your neighborhood and knock on doors. Y'all will wonder who I am. I've done it in my neighborhood. I know all my elderly. I've asked them, checked on them, and then I've got a couple of neighbors that don't have cars. Everybody check with the old folks, though. Then maybe the next meeting we have, we won't have to wear this mask.
Chester, thank you. Thank you very much. And I have become aware of some information. I mean, as it relates to the vaccine, I mean, there's the supplies of vaccine are increasing. You're seeing it more widespread. You may have had trouble signing up, but I know there's more vaccine coming in. There's a third vaccine that's been approved. I did see an email this week from the health department. I know that they're preparing campaigns to get out in neighborhoods where people can't get out. So I don't have any details on that, but I know that it's something they're at least thinking about or talking about, and so that's a good thing. And as it relates to the vaccine and as it relates to the pandemic, you know, I think we all see a little bit of a light at the end of the tunnel. There's more and more people getting vaccinated. So I'll make a small pitch. You know, we have a lot of vaccine hesitancy in this country, but I would urge everybody to get vaccinated. That's what we need to get through get the pandemic over with. So in closing tonight, I just want to express my appreciation to so many people. First of all of you all that came and opened up your hearts, let us know what you were thinking, and gave us tremendous feedback. So we have our job ahead of us now to follow through, but we have a lot of great ideas to get started. I want to thank Neil Ward. Thank you for your leadership, Neil. It's been incredible. If the business owners can rally around Neil or with Neil, I think we've got we got some really great things that we can get done. I would ask my fellow city commissioners if they have anything they'd like to say or add tonight. I'd certainly give you that opportunity. Okay, I think we're all good. I like to start things on time and end things on time, so I do we have a motion to adjourn our meeting? Okay, we have a motion and a second. City Clerk, will you please call roll? Aye. Thanks, everybody.